Greetings, world.
Greetings.
I just pulled up 9 to 5 Mac, and the top posting under latest is LastPass says that developer ops engineered hack computer led to the security breach in 2022.
What? Hold on. What? I'm pulling up the article as well
It's
right now.
9 to 5 Mac.
Found it. Okay.
So
DevOps engineer.
did you so I also did you see that password notebook that I sent you in our iMessage chat?
I did not. Hmm.
Amazon was advertising this thing on Instagram. It's like a black book for passwords, and it literally you just write down the website in the password in this giant black book. And I'm like, like who the hell is buying this, and why are the hell they advertising this on
Oh my
Instagram?
gosh. Why? Why would you buy this? It's just a notebook.
It's a notebook, but it's got predefined pages in there that says website
Oh
and
my gosh.
password.
You gotta be kidding me. This is like, uh, nope. That makes me cringe. That's so like, ugh. Why? It's
It's
like the
just fucked up.
worst. That's a terrible. You know how often people need to stop like storing their passwords, writing them down on like sticky notes. It's like the worst way to store your password. Uh, it's
Or in a black book that says passwords.
yeah, exactly. Why not like make the cover of it like something completely unrelated? Like you're just asking to get hacked when you get broken into. When you're
Like, why don't they should at least put like family photos on the front of it if they're gonna try and disguise it.
well, I gotta
I
look at
just
the
don't
reviews.
understand who would buy this.
Yeah, I need to look at
Um,
the reviews of this. I want to see who these types of people are. If they're all like really old people.
but
28,000.
it says in the last password article that an engineer's home led to the LastPass security breach. Home computer led to the yeah. It was a coordinated attack in August of 2022 while hackers were able to access and steal data from Amazon Web Cloud Services. More credentials for servers were stolen from a developer's ops engineer cloud storage at the company.
So you're
Well, I bet you
telling
he's not
me
there anymore.
so you're telling me this DevOps engineer used a home computer to work?
Apparently,
That's like,
that's what it sounds
oh my gosh. That's like even worse. That's like, I wonder if LastPass has
like.
a bring your own computer, bring your own device policy for the company, or if they
I
if
don't
you have to
know,
use
but they
supplied computers.
shouldn't. I'm
No.
sure they got. I'm sure they got supplied computers, but I don't know. I mean, they should prevent people from logging into that type of things,
It's
personal
like a
devices.
that's like a fireable
It,
offense if you log in like on a personal computer.
yeah, which is probably why he's not there anymore.
Okay,
I mean,
good.
I don't know if he's there or not, but I'm sure he's not there if
Yeah.
this happened.
No, yeah.
Um, he said this was accomplished by targeting the developer ops engineer's home computer and exploiting a valuable third-party media software package, which enabled remote code to execute and allow the threat actor to implement a keylogger malware. Um, the threat actor was able to capture the employee's master password as it was entered after an employee used two-factor authentication, or sorry, not two-factor, MFA, to gain access to the developer's engineer's last password corporate vault.
That'll do it. So glad I don't use LastPass anymore because sounds like they didn't have many security policies.
I mean, they've got to be going out of business by now.
Oh, definitely. Like, how can you? Like,
But
no one's using LastPass anymore. How can they sustain
so
business?
I typed in LastPass into the Google search, And guess what it says? LastPass, #1 password manager, vault access, and single sign-on. That's what their
Ooh.
metadata says for their website.
Oh my gosh. That's insane.
Wow.
And then I like the you scroll down ever so slightly top stories and it's just all bad news for LastPass. I remember signing up for LastPass back in 2017 when like I was very new to password managers and it worked pretty well for the amount of years I had it. It was, I don't know, it's all kind of started going downhill in like 2021. Like everything just kind of started to go to crap with their service and stuff. And then after using one password for as long as I have now, it's been fairly good. I mean, it's got a few little bugs, but it's much less buggier than LastPass.
Yeah. 1Password. I've used 1Password forever. I've never used LastPass. I think I had an account at one point, but Joseph, what do you use for a password manager? Do you have one, or do you just write your passwords in a black book labeled passwords on? Do you use the same password for everything?
Nice.
That's 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 owned by Dropbox, isn't it, right? NordPass or NordPass. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, it is Nord. It's NordVPN. Dropbox used to have a password. Um, thought they had one.
You should sign up for
Yeah.
if you want a password manager but don't want to spend the money, you should look at Dashlane. Dashlane, it's not as good as 1Password, but um it's free if you use only one device and it lets you store up to unlimited passwords.
Well, you also have Apple too, so you can use Apple,
Yeah,
but
that too. Apple one's good. Fair, yeah. That's
um Roy uses 1Password.
Hi Roy. He
Yeah,
doesn't
he
know
doesn't
he's in
like
the
it.
call.
He didn't get here early enough to. So I guess 1Password does have a password manager, but it doesn't. It's called Dropbox Password. Lets you store your passwords seamlessly. I don't know that I would trust Dropbox as a password
Yeah,
manager.
when
Yeah. I don't even have a Dropbox account anymore, I don't think. Um
Dropbox used to be like
well,
the coolest thing in like high school. It was advertised as like a free 5 GB flash drive online. It
well,
was like the coolest thing ever. And
and
now
then
it's like, yeah,
Google Drive and OneDrive and iCloud have all come around and
oh my
killed
gosh.
Dropbox.
OneDrive's amazing because now schools, if you go, depending on your school, you can get a terabyte of storage for free with your school account.
He can't hear you, Roy. See, this is what happens when Roy
Can you hear me
doesn't
now?
show up early.
Hey,
Yes, we can hear you now.
It helps if I don't have the mute button on my Yeti mic pushed.
ah, typical Max.
Because that has everything to do
Hey,
with Mac.
that has nothing to do with the Mac. That is
No,
nothing
that
to
was
do with
just
the
straight
math.
up operator error.
So I'm gonna log into Chat GPT. I want to ask a couple questions
Oh,
in here about 1Password if it.
I love Chat GPT.
you should ask
wanna see
them
what it
who's the
says.
coolest between all four of us.
That's what I was gonna ask.
That's a
hold on, I'm
great
trying to get
question. Who's the coolest?
It's gonna be like Joseph.
No, it's definitely gonna be
it.
not me.
It's gonna be Matt Carter.
Fucking
Yeah.
rest in peace.
The one who's not here.
We miss you, Matt.
We do. Okay. So let's see. First I'm gonna ask what the best password.
How fucking even knows that shit? Pardon my French.
Because it's amazingly
It's an
smart.
artificial intelligent
Guess so.
on the market. Okay, I asked what is the best password manager on the market? So it doesn't tell me anything about like what the best password manager says. It's basically telling me how to encrypt my data using two-factor authentication, automatic forms filling, cross password. Oh, here it goes. Some of the strong password managers on the market are LastPass, 1Password, Dashlane, and KeyPass.
Is that an A
Let's
or an
ask
F?
is LastPass S? LastPassword is a popular password manager that has received positive reviews. It is for its features, security, and ease. It offers strong encryption, two-factor authentication, cross-platform for generating cloud storage. However, the best password manager depends on your personal. Recommended to research the password manager. And then it talks about 1Password. Has LastPass ever been hacked? LastPass experience a secure past, but it's important to know that no password manager has 100 has several security measures in place. In 2015, LastPass announced that detected unusual network and measure time. It had no evidence. Password. It had another security incident. Browser. It talks nothing about the hack though. Is interesting. Okay, so let's see what it knows about the Gooply. Okay, so what? I asked, what do you know about Gooply? I'm sorry, but I don't have any information on a company called Gooply. Is it possible that you misspelled? Wow. I guess it's not gonna know. I guess it's not gonna know who's better. Well, that's a failure. I'm sorry, but I'm not a. Okay, so I asked, what is Gooply cast? I said I'm not I'm sorry, but I'm not aware of any podcast or media entity called Gooply cast. It is possible that the name is misspelled. Well, that's kind of lame.
Is he shit talking your branding? Kind of fucked
Must
up.
be.
Sounds like it.
What happened to the stream? We're all missing from the picture.
Should still be. Oh, I see.
Anyways, has anybody else messed around with chat?
I have
Yes.
not.
I did play around with it a little bit.
What'd you use it for?
Trying to remember. I asked it. I was like, I'm like, write me an essay of the advantages of using an EV over a gas car. And then it wrote me about it. And I'm like, show me the top 10 EVs. And then
And
it
the
showed me
leaf
the
wasn't
top.
even on it, was it?
The leaf was, well, I told it, I'm like, tell me why the Leaf is a good car. And it proceeded to make me feel better about myself. um, but in all seriousness, it was pretty cool. In fact, I'm looking at I'm the on the website right now, and it's been it's been actually really cool. What's funny, so this I'm in school right now, and I'm actually in a English. I'm in a writing class right now, working on some papers, and um, they've had to quickly like add stuff in it to detect if it's AI written, just because of how popular ChatGPT has become in the last couple of months. So there's like when I'm submitting my essay, um, it's like, do you authorize saying that you wrote this and this was not written by anyone else or written by AI? Like, nope, I wrote it, and then submit.
Well, I will say I think that it's gotten really good so far. I mean, I used it over the last couple weeks just to, talk about things and get ideas for a blog article that I'm writing, and so did some research with it, and I found that it, um, for the most part, spot on. I mean, obviously,
Mhm.
it has some very difference in it, but I'm consider upgrading to the plus version, because it's only like $20 a month, which I think is a fair. I mean, that's pretty good considering how popular it is and what they could have charged. I figured it was going to be more like $40 a month or something like that. But
For how powerful it is, that's a
um
pretty good price.
yeah. So yeah. And now that it's going to be integrated into Microsoft products forever, like I
Mhm.
mean,
And to
knows,
bring
it'll
back
be
Windows phones, guys.
Oh my gosh!
Windows phones are probably not coming back.
Imagine if they made Cortana utilize ChatGPT and like
I
how
could see I
smart.
could see them No, I could see them bringing back Cortana using ChatGPT.
I want to see them bring back Tay using ChatGPT.
I don't think it'll be come back as a phone though. Back as like an app or a
Mhm.
smart device in your house or something like that. But
Oh, what if they come
I
with a
don't know.
Master Chief speaker and it's in Master Chief's voice and it's just a little helmet
That
that sits and it's
that
like
that,
you're like,
that
Master
would be kind of
Chief, what's the commute like? What's the traffic like for work? And it's like, sir, your commute is really traffic is really busy. It should take you about 23 minutes to get to work.
oh
You're
man.
like, leave. That's a
Yeah,
missed
no, that's
opportunity.
definitely that's definitely. I did use some things where I had it write code and stuff like that, which was kind of cool. So I've been playing around with it, and I mean, it definitely didn't work on the first try with the code that I had it right, but like I had to go in there and debug it and tell it where it messed up at, and it basically
Better coder than
but
me.
yeah, I mean, definitely I could see this. I could see this be, I mean, this could replace a lot of jobs eventually down the line, I feel
Which
like,
is
but
very scary.
it is very scary because, like, I mean, they're already trying to replace people with machines already, and stuff like that too. And I
Right.
mean, once you replace everything, but like this would be really good for writing emails for people. Like I feel like this could be very for Microsoft. They could put this into chat GPP into like Outlook or something to help you write and draft your email better, because some people write horrible emails. But yeah, it definitely scary. And um I think BuzzFeed or something was going to start writing articles with it or something like that. I don't
It's
know, but
cool.
I mean, eventually we could start seeing written by ChatGPT.
Yeah, right. Instead of sent from your iPhone at the bottom of the
Yeah,
text.
yeah, definitely. So, I mean, what will happen with.
They took her gerbs. They took her gerbs.
I mean,
Her gerbs.
I still think Google should be really um really scared of Chat GPT, because um I mean, this could really crush their business if Bing takes off with it.
Mhm.
So, anyways, Roy, you should check it out though, definitely.
I'm literally playing with it right now. I told it to write
Oh.
me an article about why ChatGPT is a bad idea, and it's like I can't do that. ChatGPT, like it goes on and tells me why it's should be around. I'm sorry, and then I said, "Why is ChatGPT dangerous?" And I was like, "I'm sorry, but ChatGPT is not dangerous." And it goes on to tell me why. Like I can't get it
Yeah,
to
I
trash
mean,
talk itself.
there is a code that you can implement into it to make it say things that it's not supposed to say. I don't know what the code is because they keep changing it all the time. So, but um, but yeah. So, anyways, it'll be interesting to see how it evolves over the next year or two. And what everybody else comes out with, like, Facebook is already talking about their version of it, and stuff like that. I'm sure lots of other companies are going to start coming out with it, and stuff like that. Apple, I'm sure, is going to have some type of uh version of it. Hopefully it'll be better than Siri. Yeah, I just did diss Apple, that's for sure. Because Siri is just not smart. Like, I mean, anyways.
Hopefully, it doesn't take
What
IT
else happened?
jobs.
Yeah. What else happened? Trying to think. Oh, I'm gonna call for. I'm gonna say it now. Twitter is gonna file for bank.
I think you're probably right.
Anybody want to take my bet on it? Laid off a bunch of engineers over the weekend, all who were acquired through acquisitions and stuff like that. And if you're acquired through an acquisition, a lot of times you get, uh, you know, uh, like good stock options and stuff like that, investing and everything and stuff like that. Really hard to terminate employees that have been there for a long time, or excuse me, that have been acquired by acquisitions. So, and the fact that I think they laid off 4 of them, and one of them was the head of Twitter Blue, who did the rollout of the new Twitter Blue. And she was also very prominent for sleeping in the office. In the conference room, she took a picture of herself sleeping in a sleeping bag in the office because they were working on a project. And she's gone. So Twitter, like, so much money and back rent and some tools they were getting and stuff like that. Slack was shut off over the weekend, I think. Um, yeah. So
That's crazy.
yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, uh, let's see what else happened. Oh, I drove a Tesla, by the way.
How was
Ready?
that?
So, I flew into Vegas and then drove to Palm Springs. So, uh, first of all, I flew into Palm Springs or flew into Vegas, and I the, went to the airport to get a rental car. There was no gas powered vehicles like in the other three lots. There was no compact, there was no midsize, there was no full size in there. Hertz said they were really slammed. They had very limited cars. They weren't taking reservations. The line was forever. I couldn't check in early for some reason. So I get out there and there's a line just to get a car from my lot that I'm supposed to pick from. And so like they brought a couple, gas powered vehicles that were like full size, kind of, or not full size, but nicer SUVs and stuff like that they had and stuff like that. Then they just started bringing Teslas. And they brought like 4 Teslas before me. And basically, I was like, I told him I was driving to California. He said you'll be fine and stuff. I was like, there's charging stations and stuff like that, and it's a free upgrade. Take it. Like, okay. So and then he just runs away, never tells me anything about the Tesla or how to operate it. Like, I'm just like, I'm supposed to know how to operate a Tesla.
He saw the
And
glasses and was like,
so,
"This guy knows."
yeah, and I'm like, well, don't you think you should tell people how to lock the doors and unlock the doors and do all this stuff? And like, I'm like, so there's no push start on it. It was a Model 3. There's no push start. There's nothing like that because you don't have to start it. Get in, and stuff like that. Um, there is a place to like scan the key. It's like right in the console area and stuff like that, but it tells you exactly where to put the key. To let you know the keys in there. And the key is weird because it's not like any other key that you would have. It's like a key card. And so anyway, so I scan the key card and everything and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, there's no shifter gear. How am I supposed to put this into shift? And so on the right side, you know where the windshield wipers are? On the left hand side, there's a little thing for the windshield wipers. Well, they're on the right side was a little like switch that you just switch up and down and go into park drive or whatever, and then you push the button in the end to go into park mode. So I figured that out pretty easy. I'm like, okay, I've got start driving out. Well, you take the foot off the gas and the brakes automatically get applied. Gas, the brakes apply, and you just come to a complete stop. Like,
That
I'm
sounds
like,
horrible.
okay. So there's no coasting. Yeah, there's no coasting or
That's-
anything like that.
That's on every
So-
EV.
Yeah. Is that on yours?
Yep.
Okay. So
That
I
sounds
didn't know because I'd never
horrible.
driven one.
You get used to it. It's really nice, actually.
I will say I did get used to it very easily. So it wasn't that bad. So anyway, so I get checked out. Whatever. I'm at like 80% in power or whatever, so I'm good. So I spent the night in Vegas, and then the next day I got up and drove to Palm Springs. Well, I put it in there and it said to stop in like Prim, which is like about 20 minutes from, or like 10 minutes California border or whatever. So told me to stop there and power up. So I powered it up, but it wouldn't let me go to 100%. It takes you to 90% and it tells you to only charge once a week or fully to 100. So there was no way for me to charge to 100. But I put in the address into the giant iPad screen that's in there. And so it told me I was going to get to my next charging station and I would be at 26%. I'm like, okay, well, that gives me a little bit of time in case there's, it drops and stuff. I feel like that's good. So I immediately get on the highway after getting charged to 90%. And it drops to like 24%. I'm like, okay, I'm pretty good. I get on this like desert road that's taking me through the Mojave Desert. Finally, I'm about 20 minutes, 30 minutes into my drive, and I've lost cell phone service. On my cell phone, all my cell phones were like no cell service. I'm like, okay, I'm good. The finally loses LTE service. And after that, the percentage started dropping fairly rapidly. And so I was at like 19%, never got back above 20% for a while, and then it started going down from there. I was at 14%, and then I was at 13%, and then I'm at 12%. Now I'm at 10%. Now I'm freaking out. Like, I'm literally freaking out. I'm taking everything off the chargers. I turned the radio off. I'm like, I'm not using any power for anything. Like, I'm driving the speed limit. I'm not exceeding the limit, and stuff like that. I'm like, is this how I'm gonna end? It's like 80 degrees out in the desert, and I'm driving a Tesla, and I'm on a 2-lane road. It's not really like a highway or anything, but I'm on a 2-lane road, and like I see all these cars coming by, and I haven't seen a Tesla. Well, like about 40 minutes into the drive with no cell phone service, like I see a Tesla. I'm like, well, okay, some people have done it then, I guess, and it was a Model 3, it looked like. So I was like, okay, so this is I'm feeling a little better about it, but I'm still at like 10%. Like, I'm like, the hell. So I get to like it still says I have like 2.5 hours to drive, and I'm at 10%. I'm like, so anyway, so I finally, about an hour and 20 or hour and 30 minutes into my time frame, it finally reconnects to cell service and on the car. And so the LTE comes on, and then it reroutes me to a different charging station. And it then says that I'll be at like 26%. Well, when I got to that charging station, I was at 20%. But I felt so much better. Like, I was so relieved when that happened. I was like, I mean, I was freaking out. Like, I had to pee so bad, but I didn't stop because I just wanted to get to where I was supposed to go. I was like, but finally I pulled over and peed on the side of the road because I was like, I feel so much better now. So, and then after that, I stopped. I took a couple pictures, that type of thing, and then I continued on my drive. But I was a little worried.
You got the range anxiety.
I did. Like, I just was like, so. And then I called my wife. Afterwards. I got cell phone first back, and I told her exactly what it was and stuff like that. And I said, this is where I'm at. Just in case you don't hear from me, you can send help. So, and finally, I made it to the next charging station. It said I only had to charge like, 40 or 50% or something like that. I charged to like 70% because I was like, I need to make sure that so I charged to 70%, and then I made it to Palm Springs, and I was good. I felt so relieved. But yeah, I mean, EV cars are nice. I'm never gonna buy a Tesla because I don't like Elon Musk and everything, but I do understand kind of why some people buy Teslas and stuff like that. They're definitely, efficient cars, because the whole time, my whole time there, I only spent 30 a little over $30 in charging fees, and I charged at Tesla fast charging stations. So like that was 800 something miles and $30 worth of charging, a little over $30. So
yeah.
And the thing that I don't like about them is because they don't have Apple CarPlay, but the interface that they do have is somewhat nice in some ways. But it's like, I mean, yeah, it's nice, but it's just not. I mean, it's more made for Android users. Like, you can't sync your messages with iPhone in there. You can connect it through Bluetooth, which I did, stuff like that. But yeah.
I've never sat inside of a Tesla, and I've always wanted to, like, at least go and like test drive one, because I've never sat in one.
I wouldn't recommend the Model 3. It was really low to the ground, and when I got in there, it was hard to get out of the Tesla, stuff like that. The other thing that was tripping me out is I parked the car and I locked it. Well, I was like, how do you unlock the Tesla? Like I walked up to it. I'm like, I got the key. I'm yanking the key in front of the door. I'm like, hello, unlock the door. Can't get into the damn Tesla. It took me 15 minutes to figure out that you're supposed to put the Tesla key card up to the camera on the side of the car, and it unlocks the Tesla.
Wow, they did
I was
no
like,
training on this. This is like the Model 3 is it seems it seems like a really nice car. Like the Model 3 just seems like a nice car to drive, but it feels like a car you need to know how to use it properly for it to be a nice car. Like it's not a car that's meant to be handed around like a rental.
Definitely. They should have given you a crash course in how to lock the doors, how to that type of thing. But I mean, hey, it was only for a few days, and it did pretty good. So anyway, yeah, I mean, again, never gonna buy a Tesla. Don't plan on ever owning a Tesla or driving a Tesla again. I would be interested in some other electric cars out there, like the Mustang electric car. I've seen, and I have somebody who owns one that I know, and he really likes it, and I think that would be a cool car to own. Did you guys
recently? I think it was the White House came out and said that they paid, I think they paid Tesla a lot of money to where they're gonna make Tesla's charging stations open up to CCS charging. So CCS is like the standard charging for every other electric vehicle besides Nissan Leafs. That's the standard of like every electric car. The Rivian, the Ford F-150 Lightning, the Mustang, they all use CCS. And so a lot of Tesla people are really upset for that, because the reason being they bought a Tesla, so they were like hoping, and Tesla chargers are already very notoriously long time to wait in line to charge your car. So
I never had to wait in line. I didn't have to wait in line at all.
that's good. I know a lot of
There's-
people
No,
have to.
there's Tesla chargers at my work, and there isn't any. I mean, there's probably like 20 charging stations there, and at any given time, there's maybe 3 or 4 people.
Yeah,
Like it
I
is
know.
always empty.
There was one time I was at the Alderwood Fred Meyer, and I was getting gas for my gas car, and the Tesla line was way back, almost to the home department entrance, and it's like, geez, there's so many people just waiting in line to charge their Tesla, and it's so a lot of Tesla drivers are upset because a lot of these chargers are gonna start seeing other EVs plugged into them and charging because they're opening the network up, which is good for the EV industry, bad for Tesla. But also Teslas can charge with CCS as well, as long as they have the adapter.
Yeah, and mine did come with an adapter to charge for it as well. So, like, it did charge at a non-Tesla station for just a few minutes just to try it out and stuff like that. But it was gonna take like 6 hours to charge. So I was like,
You were at a J1772 charger.
Yeah, I went right downstairs to the second parking garage and charged up at the Tesla station. So anyway, so I only spent like $1 or something on the charger. So slow, but it did have this little adapter that you put on there, and stuff like that to connect to their charger or whatever, stuff like that. Another thing they didn't tell me, that I had to charge at a Tesla station or use that adapter, because I was like, I kept pulling the thing out. People probably thought I was crazy because I was like trying to plug it in and it didn't fit in the hole, and I'm like, get in there. Like, why are you not fitting? And then there was another one, so I put that one back and I pulled the other one out to look at that. That was a little different shape. Did I put that one in there? That didn't work. And so I was like, well, what the hell?
You should have called me. I know all about these.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. But finally I read on the so Hertz actually has a really good, which is where I rented the car from. Hertz actually has a really good info site on Tesla charging or Tesla rental cars and stuff like that. So I kind of read up on that one night, and it said that there's a mobile kit in the back on the trunk or whatever and stuff like that. Use that adapter to back onto it, and then so so that was nice. But I am kind of excited to maybe try out another electric car, but not a Tesla.
I
You know.
love. I've been driving a Leaf for a year now. While the mileage isn't like super great or anything, it's been just the best car I've ever owned. Like just driving around. I think I've already said like I've last year in 2022 I drove about 2,300 miles, so 2,300 miles. That costed me $70 in fuel, in
Wow.
electricity. And that was all like fast charging that I paid for. All the other charging has been free. Like
Yeah.
if I go to Safeway, if the charger is available, I'll plug it in and I'll charge right up while I'm doing my grocery shopping. And then by the time I'm done, the car is already fully charged and I'm good to go for another several miles and I'm good. Same with
So
work.
one of the things that I noticed down there in California is that there's not free charging, neither in Vegas. I never found any free charging stations
Mhm.
around there, like no grocery stores, no Targets, no nothing. Like it was just there was no place to freely charge your car. So I didn't look too terribly much, but I would like anywhere that I stopped and parked, like the malls, those type of things. Like I checked to see if I went to In and Out. There was a bunch of charging stations in In and Out, but they weren't free. So I was like,
Yeah.
well, whatever. So it is definitely a perk to be in the Northwest where we do have some free.
If you look up, there's an app called PlugShare, and it basically shows you. Oh, you're not gonna be able to see that, but all the green, those are all free public chargers.
A lot of
Wow,
green.
yeah,
And
that's a lot of green around here. I didn't find any free charging ones down there.
and orange is paid charging, like fast charging. But there's a lot of them here, and
Yeah.
like that's a
Yeah.
really. I mean, even some of them are paid. A few of them, not many. In fact, I've never used a paid charger that is level 2. I've only paid for level 3 charging, never a level 2.
Yeah, so I mean overall it was a nice experience and stuff like that to not pay and pollute the environment, fill up on gas and everything and stuff like that. But it was kind of nerve-wracking for a while, and I wish I had more faith in it at the beginning. If I had more of a crash course from Hertz, maybe I would have been a little better about it. But I was a little worried, stuff like that. I kept thinking, should I turn around and go back? Like, should I just turn around and go back? And I'm like, I don't know if I should or not. But
There
anyways,
was
I finally.
There was one time it was really snowy here, and so my apartment where I live, there's a hill. It's very steep to get out of. Like you have to go down this hill to get to our parking
Yeah.
lot, and then you have to go up this hill to get out of the stupid complex. So, one night it snowed a lot, and the apartment management didn't know, so they didn't put any snow treatment down. So, it was super icy, and I was trying to get out, and there was this excuse me, old man that is a resident here. He lives way on the other side of the complex. He was out there for some reason at like 6 in the morning, just helping people try and get out. And I'm in my Leaf, getting stuck, going up the hill. And he's like, he's like, put it into third gear. And I was like, I don't have a third gear. Like, I don't have any kind of gears. It's literally just a button. And so I was trying to drive out and he's like, you gotta just floor it. I'm like, okay. And I step on the gas and it literally feels like an RC car. Like it was like driving up and then I could feel the wheels were like, vroom, like you step on the gas and it's like spinning the wheels, but it's not like, you know how in gas cars it's switching gears as you do that. But in a Leaf, it's just like, it's an RC car. That's exactly what it felt like. And it was just the weirdest thing. And then, of course, the Leaf's freaking out because it's trying to use traction control. So the whole thing is just like, what are we doing? And um, it's just so bizarre. And then also, um, the regenerative braking is really nice because you get a lot of power back from that. It's really weird because you're driving on the freeway, you take your
Yeah.
foot off the gas, and then you're just like, you start slowing down a little bit, but you're regenerating like a lot of
Yeah.
electricity.
Oh, so it's
it
not
did
like your
show-
brakes are getting applied. It's refeeding because my
No,
Prius
no.
does the same thing.
Yeah.
If I let my foot off the gas, the transmission starts feeding energy back into the EV battery.
Yep.
And it's the same with the Tesla. It shows like there's a little, it goes black on the right bar, and then I think it was green on the left bar. And I think when it was green, it was generating power or whatever to put back into the battery or something like that. But so I was very conscious of that, not knowing what it was and stuff, but I was very conscious of that when I was driving to make sure that I didn't go into the black, because I was
We
like,
did a terrible job teaching you this stuff.
they didn't. They handed me the keys and ran away.
They didn't do any
Like,
job of teaching him.
They didn't do anything. Like, I was like, he was like, "You'll be fine. There's plenty of charging stations. Just fill up there." I'm like, okay. Like,
They saw you and they're like, this guy definitely drives a Tesla at home. Let's give him the
Yeah,
Tesla.
well, they didn't teach anybody else either when they got their Teslas too. They were all sitting.
I imagine you standing in line next to some really poor old man that like just wants a gas car. That's all he wants. And then they give him a Tesla and he's can't even get the thing to open for him.
But most of the people that got the Teslas were young and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It was a couple that got it before me, and I think they were still sitting there when I left. I left before them just because I figured it out a little quicker, but they were still kind of sitting there trying to figure out what to do. I guess I don't know. It was a very unpleasant experience, and stuff like that with it. To get it at least. And like I feel like if they would have just done a little bit of training to the people that got it, like, here's how to do things and stuff like that, but I probably wouldn't have looked like an idiot for 20 minutes trying to figure out how to unlock the Tesla.
That's what
Like,
when I got
shaking the car, I was like, unlock the car. I kept pushing the button, the handle and everything and stuff like that. I was like, the key is right here. Hello.
that's what the Leaf I was trying to figure out. I mean, I knew how to do it because I watched a lot of YouTube videos before I even got the car. So when I got in the car, I knew everything about all the buttons and everything. But even then, like the Leaf is a confusing car, but it's got buttons. Like you can figure out how to turn the car on. You can figure out how to change if it's reverse or drive. You can push the not the gas pedal, but the go pedal. Like it's all pretty easy. But with a Tesla, there's no buttons.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Definitely. Yeah. So that was my Tesla. But anyways, it was nice to have an electric car though, for the most part. So let's see, what else? So I know none of you guys were on Mastodon over the week because Mastodon went down.
Was it our
I had to
instance
do
or overall?
Yeah, it was ours. Yeah, it was ours. So that's why I knew none of you guys were on there, because nobody reported it to me that it was down. I was sitting in the hotel room and I opened up Mastodon. I really didn't have a chance to do it or look at it all, and I just kept getting this red error message, and I'm like, what the hell's wrong? And so I go onto the website and it just says the server's down, and so I'm trying to restart it and everything and stuff like that. I'm logging it. Forgive me, I'm not a backend guy. I don't know Linux. I don't know type of thing. So I'm all trying to figure this out. And so literally I finally did a restore of it and it came back online. I restored it from the backup. Because since none of you guys used it, I was like, I hadn't used it. So I'm like, okay, we're good to do a backup. So I did a backup, came up just fine. I was like, okay, so I scrolled through it for a little bit and then I went to bed. Woke up the next morning, same way. It was all frozen. I was like, I kept getting the red message. saying server's unavailable. I log onto the server, says the website's unavailable. I get the elephant there and stuff like that with the error messages and stuff like that. I'm like, what the hell's going on now? So I messed around with it again. I couldn't get into run any commands, so I reset it again. And I looked at it. It looked all fine. I waited around. I was like, 2 hours later, same thing. What the hell is going on? So finally, I went into some of the chat or went in some of the features, stuff like that. And I'm like, there's no fucking disk space left. I'm like, we have like 5 users and there's no space available. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I increased the disk space, but it wasn't working. So I had to restore again. I restored it again. Finally, the disk space came back. And so finally, I was able to get it up and running and everything, stuff like that. But it took a lot of back end work, which was very, very, very comfortable. Trying to deal with a lot of back end. So especially Linux. So long story short, I'm considering to hosting it on a Mastodon host service and stuff like that. So I've been looking at a few options out there and stuff like that to move it over to somewhere where they take care of the back end stuff. And then I don't have to do it because I'm just not a back end guy. And Tim left us.
I'm still here.
Yeah, but you're just sitting there staring down at the world.
I was just checking some stuff out online.
So anyway, so that's kind of my plan to do, and with it anymore, stuff like that. But I will say I am up to 92 followers, I think, on Mastodon now, which is more than I had on
Jeez.
Twitter. Yep, I'm at 92 followers now.
I need to find a way to garner more followers, and I'm not sure what I need to do for it.
So one of the things I look for is I look for I follow the hash because you can follow hashtags on there. So I follow the introduction. And then I kind of read through people's bios and what they're all about and stuff like that. I follow a lot of developers, so they kind of follow me back, and stuff like that. So but I just try to be more active on there and stuff like that. And so I mean there's a couple people I think from Washington Post that follow me, or a couple other places that follow me, but yeah, so for the most part, and then I just tweet with hashtags and stuff like that, or not tweet, post with hashtags, because that's how you get discovered on there. Kind of like Twitter used to be in the beginning, where you post all your hashtags and people would follow you on those hashtags. So and then I put
Maybe that's what I
hashtags
need
in my
to just
bio.
do.
Yeah, and I put hashtags in my bio, so I put what I'm interested in, what devices I use. I now support Mastodon. I'm a Patreon subscriber to Mastodon, and stuff like that. And I'm using the little rocket emoji, so because I think that's kind of cool. So, but yeah, I subscribe to Patreon $10 or $15 a month or something like that. I think it is, and stuff like that, which is even more than what Twitter was. But I just really want to support Mastodon and open source, because I think that's what's honestly going to help it, is keeping it open source. And
Agreed.
eventually they'll have to create some type of public version, stuff like that. But if you can still keep it somewhat open source and stuff like that. But
I mean,
not
I
make something-
haven't used it a lot in the last week just because I've been, I had my trip and then I was fairly busy. But overall, I think that Mastodon as a service is better than Twitter. It definitely feels less toxic than Twitter at the current moment.
There's a lot of people from Twitter that are migrating over. I mean, I follow one of the Twitter hashtags. It's called Twitter migration, hashtag Twitter migration, stuff like that. So, I see a lot of people. It's taking a little bit for people to get used to, because it's a little different concept than Twitter, because you have to join a server and stuff like that. It's not like you can just go sign up, but they made it a lot easier. You can now sign up in the app, and it takes you right to a server where you can chime in there and stuff like that. But I follow a bot that goes over the average user. So here's one. Let me pull up the last one. So 57 minutes ago, which is about an hour ago, there was 388 accounts that were created. In the last day, there was 11,200 accounts, and then in the last week, there was 113,944 accounts that were created last week. So, I mean, you definitely see a spike in it and stuff like that, and you definitely see some change in it and stuff like that. But, and some people join and then kind of go inactive and stuff like that, and there's graphs that you can see, but you definitely do see new accounts being created every day. So
one thing I really like about Mastodon is it's, in my opinion, it's not the same as Twitter, but it's, in my opinion, better than Twitter. And what I mean by that is with Mastodon, because it requires joining a server, a lot of the people on there are more technical. A lot of people, whether developers, software engineer, or same thing, tech journalists or IT professionals or anything, most of the people, the user bases on Mastodon are in some way in tech. So in a way, it feels like it's the social network that everyone uses inside of tech. Instead of like on Twitter, where any Joe Schmo can join and talk about trucking. It's mostly just people in tech, and it's a lot easier to find people to follow in interesting posts because it's all very relevant to like what I'm interested in. So even if like Mastodon doesn't take over, like Twitter continues on or whatever, and Mastodon doesn't get as big, it feels like it's the social network specifically designed for people in tech.
yeah, I mean, it is a little harder. Like I said, we were talking while you were gone, but it was a little harder to get in there. But Mastodon is making that much easier. You can now sign up in the app and choose a server and sign up through that and stuff like that when you're in the app. So they're definitely making changes from that. There's a few services out there that are trying to make it so you don't have to join a server. You can basically sign up and stuff like that, and use your own domain name and stuff like that. But there's definitely, I mean, it's open source, so anything could happen with it.
Yeah.
Trump's social media service is based off of the platform of it, which is why they got it so quickly, because it's open source. So they basically, you can apparently use third-party clients that are made for Mastodon on his social media service, which kind of sucks. But yeah. So anyway, and there's so many clients that are coming out. Like every week, there's a new Mastodon client that's out there, and they're not sucky clients, at least not for iOS. Like I haven't found one that I really like on Android, but there are so many of them that are coming, and they're so amazing. There's so much detail into it and stuff like that. Developers are really helping push this along. So I'm really hoping that Twitter's going to die and Mastodon's going to take over the world. So
Wouldn't that be nice?
but
Yeah.
it would be nice. It would be nice because, I mean, literally, I have no idea how many people are left at Twitter that work there, but I feel like with the people, like the big layoffs that they had over the weekend, like I feel like it's just coming to an end eventually. We're going to wake up one day and we're like not going to be able to get onto the server for a while. And I feel like they'll eventually fix it, but I feel like there's going to be a giant outage that could be like a week or two maybe, or something like that, where they screw something up, when they created the new like hashtag, or not hashtag, the new number of characters that you can post if you're like a Twitter Blue or something like that, and it went down for like a week or so, or not a week, but like a day or so. But anyway, so I feel like the end is near. and that it's not gonna, it's gonna go into bankruptcy. I feel like Elon owes so much money to rent places and stuff like that. He's being sued by several companies and stuff like that. Like, it's got to happen someday. Like, so I feel like it's coming. Anyways, real quick, Roy, we're a little over time, but how was your trip to Universal Studios and Super Mario World?
It was fantastic. We got down to Burbank is where we flew into on Thursday night. We spent the night kind of exploring Hollywood itself. We rode the subway down there. We kind of lime scootered around Lime Scooter for the first time. It was a lot of fun. Checked out the Funko store, looked at the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Went back to the hotel room, woke up at like 4 o'clock in the morning to go stand in line, which I thought was a crazy idea, but it was not a crazy idea. We got to Universal Studios probably about 5 o'clock in the morning. We walked up there because it was like a 20-minute walk. And they let us in at 6 o'clock in the morning so that we could be there at the ribbon cutting ceremony. Doug Bowser, the CEO, or not the CEO, the president of Nintendo of America was there. Miyamoto and the CEO of Nintendo were there. We were there for the ribbon cutting ceremony.
I think the CEO just got his name, or just got his job because of his last name.
Doug Bowser.
Yeah, I think that's
is
the only reason he got that job. Like, I feel like, you know,
it has definitely been a joke. When Reggie was the president of Nintendo America, Doug Bowser was I want to say he was the CFO of Nintendo of America at the
but
time.
you had to think of that. They were going through all the people that were in line, and they were like, "You get it. You got the name. That was it. That was it." I could totally see that. Like,
but they did a fantastic job with the world. I mean, when you walk through the warp tunnel into Peach's castle, and then you get outside into the actual world, it looks amazing. They got things moving around. It looks like you're literally in the Mushroom Kingdom, and they have this cool little interactive experience where you have a power-up band and you can go around, you can punch the coin blocks and the question mark blocks and the brick blocks, and you do different activities to get golden keys, which you can track on the Universal Studios app. And when you get enough keys, you can go take on Bowser Jr. with an AR game and get the golden mushroom back. They had a Mario Kart ride that we didn't ride because it had a 3-hour wait time. Screw that. And which was okay because I watched a video on the ride, and it was a VR ride that just, it didn't even look cool. They had one cafe in there, Toadstool Cafe, that looked really cool. They had all these windows on the surrounding the cafe when you're on the inside, and you see little toads walking around and they're going about their business, and every once in a while you see Luigi pop his head out, and on the back wall there's like the kitchen, so you see the toads all making food. But the cool thing is on the windows outside, every once in a while the sky will go dark and thunder will come in, and Bowser's airship will come by and he'll start shooting cannonballs across like the entire wall. You'll see it go from one screen to the next, but all the lights inside the cafe turn purple when it does that. So that was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun. I
wow.
really enjoyed myself.
Sounds awesome, but I think I'm gonna wait until the crowd.
You don't have a choice.
layers up
They
before.
have been selling out weekends ahead of time. Like the entire
Yeah.
park sells out.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm just gonna wait a couple years before I go, and then
The one in
hopefully
Florida is
it'll
supposed to be opening up soon. It's going to be a little bit bigger.
yeah, be interesting. I just don't want to go to Florida.
I don't blame you.
So, anyways, well, I'm glad you had a good time. It was really cool to see the pictures from down there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And yeah. So, I'm really disappointed though that you didn't chat me when you got back to the gift shop, because
I looked to,
I could have gotten something really cool in my office.
I was looking for something that would complement the light that you have up there, and I couldn't find. They had that. That was actually there for sale at the gift shop. But
how much was it?
I don't remember because I didn't look at it because I knew you already had it, and I didn't want it, so I didn't even look at the price.
I mean, I could have taken anything. It's on my shelf. I mean, I would have fit somewhere else. I mean, I got plenty of room in my office.
Between all the souvenirs that I got and that my friend got and all the stuff we brought with us to begin with, we barely fit everything back in our bags. Like we brought an empty
It's okay.
suitcase.
I would have paid for you to ship it to me from the UPS store. I would have paid for you to ship it. It's all good. I would have like.
Oh, the probably the only hiccup in the entire trip. So our plane back was gonna leave at like 4 o'clock. So we're like, cool, we're gonna leave the hotel. There's a Denny's right by the airport. We'll go have some late breakfast and then we'll go and we'll check our bag and get through security and just kind of chill for like 2 or 3 hours at the airport, right? No big deal. We get done with breakfast at Denny's, and as we're walking over to the airport, we get a message on our phone saying our flight was delayed by like 3.5 hours. So what did we do? We just sat at the airport literally all day because there's nothing else to do around there. There's nowhere to walk. It's just in this weird area in Burbank.
Yeah, when I left Palm Springs, my flight was delayed by a couple hours. So yeah, California's been sucky with delays. So, but
and then we left
anyway,
and all that snow came in.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And look at here, we're still gonna dig out from. So
did you pass by my work?
I did. I didn't keep an eye out. I passed by the Warner Brothers Tower, the water tower.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I like Warner Brothers Studio actually really much. They let you go on to sound stages and stuff like that, which are really cool. And you like, to be honest, seeing a sound stage from inside versus seeing it on TV now, I totally understand how they build things and stuff like that too. Sound stages are really cool to see when you go in there and stuff like that. So that was kind of really cool to see and stuff like that. And they have a bunch of sound stages you can go visit, like the Oval Office. We went and saw one, some show on Disney, I think, or something like that. We weren't allowed to take pictures and stuff like that, but they have all the Batman cars there at Warner Brothers, so you can go see all the Batmans, the motorcycle, the plane, I think, is there. But yeah, they have a bunch of them and stuff like that too. So, all right. We're out of time, so we'll end it there. Thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. Appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.